everybody, I am Megan Victor with the Megan Victor Group at Century 21 Fine Homes and Estates, Judge Fights, and I am here today with my good friend Darren Shue from Santa Tech Services. He actually came over, I guess, in January and helped me out freshening up my carpets. You know, some of you know that I had a baby back in December, and we had not cleaned our carpets the whole time we had been there at the house, and we just really needed a refresher, and Darren came in. He did a phenomenal job. But one of the things that he told me, I remember this, that he said that I need to be cleaning my carpets really every 18 months, so every year and a half, and I had no idea that I should be cleaning them that often. That probably would have made a huge difference in the life of my carpet. It would have looked a lot better, even still, had I been keeping up regular maintenance. But Darren, what are some other things that we need to be doing to keep our carpets and our floors in general in good shape?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, Megan. Yeah, as far as the 18-month number goes, it's a general number, and it's really based upon lifestyle. You know, how many children do you have? How much do they play outside? How many pets do you have? You know, what kind of problems maybe do the pets present in your floor? Do you eat over your carpets? Do you eat over your hard surface? So the 18 months is a generally accepted standard.
It's a good guideline.
Right, and the reason why that's important, before I get into maybe the tips part, but the reason why that's important is that particles, whether soil, food, whatever, they actually act as, they damage the carpet fibers, the protectant on the carpet fibers. And so as we walk on it, it just continues to grate on, like sandpaper, if you will, is if you can envision that, but just on a much smaller scale. It's just these tiny particles that do that. So vacuuming gets up most of it. So if you depending on your lifestyle, vacuum as often as you possibly can. That really is the number one tip to prolong the life of a carpet.
It's not a commercial for a Roomba, but
right.
You need one of those.
But those help, believe it or not. They do a great job, but you still need to do a good vacuum, especially the pile. The depth of the pile of your carpet will determine what kind of vacuum and the quality that you need to have.
Right. Yeah, we had to actually ask our carpet manufacturer which kind of vacuum we need.
Right.
Because we have to have a special carpet, or a special vacuum for our carpet.
Yep, and that's the case because you want to be able to get those soils out. So you can keep guys like me away for as long as possible. Because in the end, really what professional carpet cleaners do, or professional floor cleaners, is we're doing restoration cleaning. It's not, pretty much the maintenance cleaning that you go through at home is going to keep your carpet in great shape for a long time.
Okay.
We have to do restoration because of the strength, the power of our equipment, and the special nature of that.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, what are some things that people should be doing for their maintenance of their floors in between the times when you guys have to come out to restore everything?
Number one, like I said before, it's constant vacuuming, and I say constant, but people say, "Oh, I vacuum once a week." And what I've found is that they think they vacuum once a week, and it's probably more like once every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because we get busy.
Absolutely.
But if you do it just every couple of days, especially if you have an active home with children and pets, it's really important because the pet hair itself is tremendous in carpets.
Right.
It weaves its way into it. But one of the other big things is when you get a spot, you drop anything on there. If you don't have the proper cleaner right there handy, keep that wet. If you have a liquid stain, keep that wet. Put a wet rag, a cloth.
Really?
Yep. Put that on there, and the reason is it won't give that whatever color that is, or that substance. It won't give it a chance to actually spread and wick out into drier carpet, and it's easier to take it out, even with home remedies, when you have it damp. So if you spill something, especially if you've got a synthetic color, like some of the juices that kids have, or some of the toys, slime, that type of stuff that gets made at home. I know slime is really tough to get out. But those types of things, if you get those damp, and then even if you have to research how to clean it yourself, you'll have more time to do that and have a greater chance of success.
Okay.
Get that out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And maybe one other thing, pet urine. A lot of people, there's just tons of remedies that are out there, and people will throw all kinds of stuff on it. If you have an off-the-shelf enzyme that you can buy from a pet cleaning, store, or a pet store, or one of the big box stores, if you use that right away, it's actually pretty good. It's not great for a restoration cleaning, but if you catch it right away, it will stop the worst of it. Follow the instructions, and then if worse comes to worse, I know some of my fellow cleaners would probably be upset at me for saying this, but throw baking soda on it and it will at least wick the urine up to keep it from soaking in.
Okay, well that brings up a point, because I know a lot of people, they work and they come home and they find that their dog has made a ginormous, disgusting mess in the house. Like I have a client who, in the middle of the night, their dog just got real sick.
Right.
And thankfully it was, in their laundry room. They didn't have any carpet in there, so it was a little easier to clean up. But I mean, if the dog had not been in the laundry room, it would have gotten sick all over who knows where.
Right.
So what about those situations where you're at work during the day and you come home to something, or it happens overnight and you don't know about it until the next day, and those things get set in a little bit more?
Right.
What can people do?
Well, all is not lost. It's obviously, we find it when we find it. With urine specifically, the best thing to do is always just to, I would say, don't get it wet, don't flush it right away, because what you'll do is you'll drive the urine further out. But sop up with clean rags, whatever you can do. So any old rags or towels, or paper towels will work fine. Just get as much of the moisture out as soon as you possibly can.
Okay.
That's the number one thing. Number two is don't panic, because there's going to be a remedy. If we're talking spots,
We're going to be okay.
We're going to be okay. If we're talking repeated use, like a corner, I've dealt with corners before that have been saturated for months at a time.
It's just their favorite spot.
Right.
Okay.
And oftentimes the pet owner doesn't, they just kind of throw their hands up in the air and they give up until they can't stand it any longer. At that point, we're into the subfloor and we're talking a whole different, the carpet cleaning itself at that point is not the issue. We're going to have to do remediation. So, but if you find that spot, if it's vomit or if it's feces, it's actually not that big of a deal.
Really?
No, those are very easy to clean up for the most part, unless the vomit issues have medicine attached to them. Then sometimes there are different dyes or the chemical reactions within medicines. But that's a rarity. But vomit or feces, honestly, it's tough to clean up, but get as much as you can up as cleanly as you can. I found that using maybe a wide blade plastic putty knife or kind of a scraper is a good way to do it, because you can kind of go down beneath it in the carpet and push it up and then lift it, so you can get as much out of it as you possibly can.
Okay.
Get that done. Again, go back to what I said earlier, keep it damp, and then clean it as you normally would if you have a spotting machine at home or if you use any kind of commercial cleaner. And again, the enzymes work great for those, because anything that's biological associated with an animal's body is those enzyme type cleaners that you can buy in the stores will work to a degree. And if the stain just doesn't come out, then obviously you can call me or someone like me. So
he does a great job, and he's super honest. This is one of the things I love about Darren. He actually went out recently to my friend's house and took a look at their carpets, and he found out that there just wasn't. I mean, he could have helped them, but it was going to cost a lot of money, and for the same price, they could have just replaced their flooring. And he told them that. And so he's not really here to upsell you, and he's not here to deceive you. He's really here to help, and that's, I mean, honestly, that's one of the things I absolutely love about you.
Well, thank you.
I know that I can trust you, and he did a phenomenal job on my carpets. We did have some of that red stuff. One of the kids got red juice in there, and we didn't get it out, but that's because I didn't want to pay to get it out. I mean, we're going to replace the carpets in a few years anyway, so, and we just had a baby, so the carpet's going to take another beating or two, before we replace them. But real honest, real great guy, Darren Shu with Sanitech Services. We're going to flash his number up on the screen so that you can give him a call. Hopefully this really helped you out with some of your home maintenance tips, and you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.